This time I will talk about the Ankh, or as modern Egyptologists have called it, the key of life, or the key of the Nile, the artery of life. The Ankh, or the Ankh, was the secret of eternal life for the ancient Egyptians, who built their lives on it for immortality in the afterlife. The first appearance dates back to the first dynasty of the 30th century BC. It was recently called the Key of Life, perhaps because its shape has similarity to a modern key. However, the original name, as mentioned in ancient history, is the Ankh. We often see deities and demigods giving the Ankh to kings near the nose, meaning they grant life and more breathes, which grant them extra years of life in pursuit of eternal life. That's why we see most of ancient statues with broken noses intended to deprive them of life. The Ankh is a symbol of immortality, resurrection, and eternal life that never ends. It was carried by kings and netred, meaning sacred beings, and is seen in temples and tombs carvings. The Ankh was not merely a decorative form, it was a sacred amulet and part of ancient Egyptian belief. As for its origin, it remains unclear to historians yet. One of the oldest theories, however, dates back to the anthropologist Thomas Inman in 1869, who said, "The Ankh is a symbolic union of male and female, a divine gift representing the continuation of life. It's seen in scenes of resurrection and life after death in tombs. It was carved from gold, copper, and ceramic and placed atop graves as a symbol of the sun and life. There are various interpretations of its meaning and function. As a symbol of the womb and the new life, it's the union of the masculine and feminine, the origin of creation and the continuation of existence. It's Isis and Osiris, the spiritual encounter that brought fertility, the Nile, and life. It's resurrection after death and the soul's path to eternity. It's the convergence of opposites, north and south, life and death, sun and shadow. Some have recently interpreted the Ankh as the oval circle above represents the Nile Delta. The vertical line represents the course of the Nile River from south to north, and the horizontal line across it represents the eastern and western deserts. This is because birth and life are in the east bank of the Nile, while death and burial are west of the Nile, and in between is the journey of life. This means that the Ankh equal Nile equal life. The Ankh was not just a symbol, it was a complete philosophy, even after the arrival of the monotheistic religions in ancient Egypt. Some have said that the Christian cross is an extension of the shape and meaning of the Ankh due to the similarity shape. But Pope Shenouda III denied this connection, stating that the cross was known globally, beginning in Jerusalem and extending to the entire world. There is no connection between the Ankh, which appeared only in Egypt, while the Christian cross is known in countries where the Ankh was unknown or unrelated. The two forms are a little different, although there is a similarity in symbolism. Some have interpreted the Ankh as a symbol of life and birth because the oval shape above, with two dots, represents the feminine womb and the vertical portion represents the masculine, the basis of life on earth. It represents the spiritual union of Isis and Osiris. The Ankh helped the deceased king or queen to cross into the world of the dead to join the primordial surrounding, following in the footsteps of the sun god Ra, who dies and reborn every day. At night, Ra confronting the forces of chaos and always emerges victorious, thanks to the Ankh which he holds in his hand. The Egyptians carried the key of life as an amulet, either alone or with two other talismans, symbolizing strength and health. The ancient Egyptians placed metal models of the Ankh on graves, either gold or gilded, or copper as a symbol of the sun. Even mirrors were made in the shape of the Ankh, as if the one looking at it could see light and eternal life. There are still people these days getting the Ankh or the key of life for adornment in the form of ring, earring, or chain. I hope this brief overview is sufficient and comprehensive. Murhaf Baghdadi.